Okay, we're here to celebrate Melissa Dillon making 1 million worth of sales using Zenler. This is all about Melissa today. We're going to be delving deep in what it takes to be a successful course creator and make sales of over 1 million using the Zenler platform. I'd like to welcome Melissa Dillon. Hello, Melissa. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here with you.
It's fantastic to have you back again. She's back with us and we cannot be happier. And we're here to celebrate 1 million. Well, she's more than 1 million now. Melissa's probably on her way to 2 for sure.
Definitely, yes.
It's just going up. It's amazing. It's amazing to see Melissa's success. And of course, Melissa is using the Zenler platform. And we just want to celebrate today with her because this is massive for her, but it's also massive for us because everybody has success on the platform is we are behind them. We are urging them to be successful. And Melissa, again, this is about the third or fourth time that she's done lives with us, and she gives her time to help you guys, to motivate you guys, to get you going, and she also offers help as well, which we'll talk about a little bit. But we're going to quiz her again. Last time I did an interview, we sort of tried to get deep, and now we're talking about success. So we're talking about all the things that has made Melissa successful and where she is today. Okay, so there's lots of blogs on Melissa. We'll put those into the chat. We'll put them into the transcript and all this stuff, and we're producing a blog post from this as well. So all the information is going to be in there for you to look at. So to celebrate Melissa making 1 million in sales and making over 100k a month, and I know it's more now. And I want to ask Melissa, how does it feel to be a million sale course instructor and being in the top 1% of earners in the US?
I didn't know that. I know like what I've earned. I know I'm a teacher and we've made this much money, but to know that that's like in the top 1%, like that is super, super cool, especially as an instructor. I always talked about how like I was a poor teacher. Like I started as a teacher. I went to college to become a teacher knowing that my salary would never be high. Like that was the belief that I had. That was like where I was going, and I was committed to it because I wanted to be a teacher and I accepted it as part of life, but we don't have to stay with that. And I found my own way of teaching how I wanted to, doing my own thing, and it's amazing. So it feels awesome. I love what I get to do. I love teaching, and I love that I'm able to receive a very lovely income from that. So that's super cool.
Yeah, and it's that, it's the money is great, it makes life easier. But I think a lot of people, they think, oh, if I make 1 million, or I make 2 million, make 3 million, then it's going to make such a big difference to my life. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be fulfilled. But money doesn't make that happen. It's how you are. It's like I moved to Cornwall, and it's like lots of people move down here. It's a beautiful part of the world, and they move here and they think all their troubles are going to be left behind, But so you've got to have that love for yourself inside. And I know, Melissa, you're very much into being authentic yourself, and you were held back a long time with being in this particular role, that you had to have your hair long, you couldn't dye your hair, but tattoos and all of these things, and that is very restricting, isn't it, in life?
Yeah, what's so crazy is like we're told, especially like you got to go to school, make money, get a good job, and then the good job tells you you have to look like this, act like this, talk like this. You need to do these things with your time. You're only allowed to use these talents, and it's what's best for us, whatever you end up doing. And I was like, but what about what I want to do? What about what lights me up? What do I want to be spending my time on? What are the talents I want to focus on? What are the things I enjoy doing with my day instead of someone else directing all of that? But when I decided to focus on what I loved, what I enjoyed, and what I wanted to do, when I took ownership of my time, when I took ownership of my focus, when I took ownership of my talents and my genius and my skills, and this is what happened. And then also took ownership of my appearance and how I love to express myself. I I am more me than I have ever been. And like there was a time, like my sister calls it my Karen face, where I got the brown hair and I just look like a cute little teacher, like the what you if you think of like, Miss Honey, Matilda and Miss Honey, just that presence. That's what I used to walk around in, but that wasn't how I wanted to be. That's just how I thought I had to be in order to be a teacher and to have that job and stuff. But when you take ownership of yourself and your self-expression and your gifts and your talents, and you decide how you want to use them, like the world is your oyster. So that's what I did with the insurance exam queen. And it doesn't, like I've had people, especially my dad, he's like, I don't understand this. He's like, you're talking about insurance and you got pink hair, but somehow they love you. And I'm like, it doesn't, it doesn't matter. Like there should really be no, opinion about what I look like in terms of what I'm doing. It doesn't, impact my appearance, does not impact my ability to teach and help people pass the exam. If anything, I think exemplifies it, because I'm like, I need this. It can be a relatively boring topic to learn about some of this stuff. I ignite fun into it as much as I can, but like I have to be interesting to look at. I'm like, I need to be the most interesting thing that you need to look at, because you've got to study for your exam. And so to me, I think it helps people to stay engaged and excited, especially because I feel better when I look like how I want to look. Like I had to make sure I put on my necklace before our interview today. Like I feel my best when I look the way I want to look, and it allows me to be better in everything that I'm doing. So I instruct better when I feel like myself, when I'm not putting on something else, right? Like to put on, it was like basically a mask to like look like what they want, look like what they said was successful. Look what a teacher should look like, what a insurance person should look like with a blazer, and that's just not me. I'm spaghetti strap all the way. Most of my videos are crop tops, and not that you see my belly or anything, but like I can't live according to the ideas and opinions of other people and expect to have success in my own way. Like I've got to be authentically myself. And the more I show up authentically as me, the better the business gets, the better my impact gets, like the better my income gets. Like it's incredible. Like when you truly tap into who you authentically are, it like unlocks doors that you didn't even know were closed or open or available to you.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I mean, I remember I was going into an office. I had to wear a suit every day. Since I moved to Cornwall, I literally burnt all my suits.
Yes.
I don't want to, it's like you're trapped. And this kind of thing of this, I almost feel, this is my personal opinion, I feel that it's brainwashing. You have to go through certain things. This is how you're supposed to look. This is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to live. You're only supposed to have one holiday a year. It's all very set out in stone almost. And people just follow this and they just think that's how it is. And they don't realize, nobody kind of realizes that it's not that hard to do your own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all talk about like, there's so many images, like all the, the fish are all going this way, but one chooses to go that way. And it's like, be the one who's, following your own path. People are afraid to do that because the other people will tell you, oh, you can't do that. You can't start a business. Like I remember my dad, some of the biggest naysayers are your family, right? Like that's the hardest part, is like these people. And you have to understand, like he genuinely cares about me. He wants to make sure I'm okay. And so he's telling me and passing, you talked about brainwashing. He's telling what he's learned in his life in order to be successful, what he's experienced. He's trying to help make sure that I don't go through anything negative or awful, but most people don't realize that system is negative or awful for most people. But his intention, is to protect me and to keep me safe. But like it's not, it wasn't working for me. So like he was like, you know, you do you have a business plan? Do you have this? And I'm like, have you done market research? And I'm like, I'm just trusting. Like I'm just, no, I don't have those things. I don't think it's necessary to have those things. And I still don't have, you know, a business plan or, you know, I mean, I feel like I did market research in that I was working in this career field for a corporate company for a while. And I got to engage with the customers and talk with them and got to feel what people were experiencing and what struggles they had. And then I used all that knowledge and experience as I built the Insurance Exam Queen. But like there's like you have to have it like this or have it like this, and if you don't, you're wrong. And then people will, you know, chime in and try to tell you like, oh, you're heading, like don't go that way, that's a scary way, that's terrifying. And you got to just kind of, you know, focus on what it is that you want without, you know, listening to the naysayers. Like I'm even working with someone now and helping her. We, you know, I have the Insurance Exam Queen, but I also have started the Melissa Mae Dillon brand, where I want to help other entrepreneurs and other people tap into their, you know, creating their own life and doing what they want to do. And I met this amazing woman, Malia Rogers, who has written an incredible book that is about to be published at the end of the month. And this book is magical. Like it's called Magnetic Allure, and it teaches people how to build a business without paying for marketing or advertising or leads, and how you can have referral network partnerships with people. And she actually gets business from 40 different states. There are people throughout the country in over 40 different states who will refer people to Malia for her business. And so she's got so much business coming in. She had to hire people to help her with her business. And she wrote out how she did this and how she built all of that amazing structure. And then she added in, like she used to teach that to people. Like, this is what I did. Here's how I got my referral networks. Here's how I met with the people. Here's how I established it. And some people would take off and run with it, and they would be successful, and some would not. And she's like, why does this work for some people but not for other people? And then she found out, you know, like that, well, they can't just follow the strategy, the step by step. They also have to be a person that someone would want to refer. Like if I, you know, like if I come to you and say, well, here's, you know, I sell this, refer people to me, but I'm not interesting, or I'm not exciting, or like you have no connection with me, you're not going to want to refer me to anybody. Like it doesn't mean anything to you. You know, you got to have a vibe, you got to have a connection, and you've got to, you know, be somebody that is on the top of someone's tongue when they are thinking about that. Like, oh, you know, I know the perfect person for that. And in order for you to be at the top of the list when there's like 1,000 million other options, is to be someone who's interesting and exciting and has got, you know, some magnetic allure going on. But
Yeah.
she's written this amazing book, and she has doubt and worry about sharing it. She's like, you know, will people even want this? And like, and I feel cocky, or I feel, there was another word she used, not confident, but it was like, I'm worried that like saying that my book is good means that there's something wrong with me, and like that you shouldn't be proud of yourself, or, you know, what is the difference between being proud of what you have and like being, you know, cocky about it. And I'm like, to me, we are taught any level of being proud of yourself is bad. Like we have this belief that you've got to stay small, you've got to stay little, and that you shouldn't be too proud of yourself. But I think we really should. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud that I have this amazing YouTube channel with over 40,000 subscribers. I'm so proud that I've built this business where I have, you know, multiple people who work with me, and we're able to make the impact that we make. Like when we diminish that self out of fear of what other people think of us, we're blocking so much power and love. And like, it's just not worth it to carry those beliefs anymore, that we shouldn't be proud of what we're doing, or that it's wrong or bad to talk up what you have. Like she has an amazing system in this book ready for entrepreneurs to be able to launch their businesses and have like amazing, you know, leads coming into their business. And she's like, well, if I talk about it, it makes me feel like I'm too cocky or something. And I'm like, we've got to eliminate that. So I really hope to like show people that like you can proudly talk about what you're doing, and that it doesn't make you a bad person, that you can say, I am highly skilled and talented in teaching people what they need to learn to pass the exam or whatever it is for you. When you, again, that's all about owning your gifts and your talents. We really give away ownership of our gifts and our talents. Like if I work for a corporate company, they own it, not me. They get to decide what it looks like, how it operates, and how much money it should receive. I want to be the ownership of that. So when we own our gifts, when we own our talents, when we own, our unique expression, it's limitless as to what we can do with it. And it's in your hands instead of someone else's hands. And I, I just think that's so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I would say, like, for me personally, that I work for Zenler. I don't have to. Running my own things, absolutely fine. But Zenler is the only company I've ever worked for, and I've worked for a lot, where they give you absolute freedom. So and they let you roll with it. You are yourself. You can be who you are. And it's very, very rare. So I'm kind of bigging up Zenler with that, because they are a company, and I'm working for them. But it's different because it's completely fluid. Ideas are taken on board to the point we take members' ideas on board and implement them. And I don't think anyone's doing that. Not to the extent that they take it seriously. But I agree, absolutely. You need to stand out. You need to be yourself. You need to be proud of what you're doing. I'm proud of what I've done while working for Zenler. I'm really proud of it. And I've met some amazing people through Zenler itself. So people all over the world, and it's amazing for me. It really is. So I got a question, like, how has success changed your life? And how is it changing your life?
So I know what you're asking me. But success is an interesting word. Like, what does that mean? Most people say success would be the $1 million and the business. But to me, success is enjoying, like, waking up to a life that I enjoy. And when I began focused on that, that's when the money hit. That's when the business hit. So to me, I've been living in success for a while, because success to me is I am in love with the life that I am waking up to. I am in love with the life that I go to bed with. I am in love with the life that I experience throughout the day. And to me, that is the ultimate success, that I feel so good every day, living my life, doing what I get to do, how I get to do it, that I take time sitting on the porch with my baby and just watching her play in the dirt and the sand. Like, that to me is success. Now, how does the money feel? The money side of that feels really awesome. There's a lot of freedom when it comes to that. Like, there were times in my life where it was like, oh my gosh, my car broke down. I'm going to have to pay to fix this. This is going to be a struggle. I'm going to have to figure something out. I'm going to have to use a credit card. I'm going to have to do all these things. And it could be really daunting and kind of scary when you don't have access to money quickly, easily, and available. And the thing is, we do have access to it, but we block ourselves of having access to it by our beliefs about money. But to be able to physically have, money available to me, to know that money is coming in through my business, that is a huge sense of relief that I feel. And then now, as the relief comes in, now it just gets to be playful. Like, we get to play with our money, where it was like we had to be so careful and cautious with the money. Now there's enough of it that we can be playful with our money. We get to do fun stuff with our money. And I mean, I kind of always have. I was always a person who's like, money will always come in, so it feels good to go on a trip right now. So I've never really been one to like super worry or super stress out, but I have had moments where I was like, how are we going to manage all of this? But one thing is, like, that doesn't necessarily go away. Like, I like to tell, like you kind of mentioned earlier, people think once I hit $1 million, or even if a lot of people say, if I could just make 5,000 a month, everything will be okay. And I remember used to thinking that too. And I hit 5,000 and I was like, okay, well, now we need 10. And then we hit 10 is like, okay, now we need 20. Okay. And then it just keeps going, because your current reality of what you think you want your life to look like is based on your belief about how much money is available to you. You're like, so most people will think just like 1 to 2 levels above their current situation. Like, as long as my rent is paid and there's food in the refrigerator, I'll be okay, and I won't worry. And then that happens, and then it's like, well, now I have another desire. Now I would like to have a really pretty car. And then, like, okay, so now I need to make a little bit more. And if I could just make a little bit more to have a pretty car, then everything will be okay. And then, like, we kind of keep doing that.
And, and the money stays the same. It's funny, the more you make, you don't seem to be any better off than when you didn't have any money. Do you know? It's like what am I, why am I spending so much more money, and I don't seem to have any more, but I'm happy. But the best bit for me was you right at the beginning saying, not, did you notice that, guys? Like right at the beginning, Melissa said, it's my success is my life. It's not the money. You know, and I think that is the thing. And in fact, I got goosebumps when you said that. I was like, oh yeah, you know, it really chimes. That's how I feel about things. It's not about that. It's about the life you lead. And if you've got that, and lots of people don't, especially if they're doing the rat race thing, and they're just in the job 9 to 5, coming home, looking after the kids, giving them a meal, going to bed, wake up in the morning, straight off to work again, boo, 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 and it just repeats, and they go down and down and down. And I think that is brilliant. It's about your life and about how you are. And if you're relaxed, you make money. It's like I've been in the situation as well where I've like, how I can't afford to get my car fixed. And then I just take a deep breath and I'm like, do you know what? It'll work out. And then suddenly it does every single time.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yes. Because what you like, this is the key thing. And this, I still have to remind myself of this, but what you focus on grows. So if you focus on the worry, the fear, the doubt about getting the car fixed, it grows and it grows and it grows. But if you focus on it'll work out, I'm just going to go do the next thing and it'll work out. Like that's what grows, is the trust that it's going to work out. So I constantly, anytime I catch myself in worry, fear, or doubt, I'm like, I'm growing worry, fear, and doubt. Like worry is the worship of fear. Like the more I worry, I'm just worshiping fear and just making fear my focus. But if I take that energy of worry, focus, or worry, fear, and doubt and put it into trust and faith and hope, like that's what grows. And things just magically work out. Like it just magically happens. Like it's just magic and miracles. Like my whole life is just magic and miracles. Like I don't see a logical way of how this could work out, but I don't need to see a logical way of how this works out. I just get to trust and know that it's going to work out. And I'll just get to laugh and giggle when it happens and be like, see, I told you so. And that's pretty much just been my life. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's so strange. It's really, really strange. So I want to ask you, so like how do you manage being a new mother and managing to smash all the sales?
So yes, that is a great question, because that is something that people are quite, afraid about. So I started my insurance exam queen business, not with any potential of having a baby at all. It wasn't even on my radar in the slightest. So I started building up my business, and I started, already making sales and had the business going. I had the YouTube channel going, and I got pregnant in October. October was the same month I officially started using new Zenler. And I knew, like, I had stuff available for sale. Like I had things that people could buy, but I had this belief that, because like what I was doing was I sold one-on-one tutoring for like $33 an hour, but then that became like, that's not going to produce a large enough income if I can only make $33 by blocking out a time on my calendar. And that $33 doesn't even suffice in the next hour where I have to spend money. So I'm like, this isn't going to work out. So then I started selling class tickets. So people could come to a class, and multiple people were now sending me $33 for that hour instead of one person sending me $33. So that was much better. And then I would record those classes. And then people said, can we buy the recording? And I'm like, absolutely. So now I was making even more money on that 1 hour of time, and people were buying it over and over again. Now, and then I let them buy whatever recordings they wanted to buy. And I had this, and I was like, but I had this belief that like I needed to make a course and not just have classes, like class recordings. And I was like, I need to sit down and record videos of me teaching the topics, and that this would be the only way for me to make a course. And because I had actually bought Zenler platform in like March, but I had this belief like in order for have a course, it would need to be these clean, perfect videos, which I had yet to ever produce. And so I sat on not using Zenler for so long because I was like, in order for me to have a course, it must be these clean videos. And every time I'd sit down to make them, something would go wrong. Technology was wrong. Something in life would go wrong, something, whatever. Like it, I could never just get the recording of these videos to happen. But I had this massive collection of class recordings just sitting there, and I was selling, they were selling daily, but I was holding this belief that like, that's not a course. And so I spoke with Christine, and Christine is my coach and mentor, Christine Michelle Hayes. And she's the one who actually had me sign up for Zenler because she uses it herself. So you guys, you know, thank Christine for that. She was like, you have stuff. And so one day I decided, I was like, okay, I got little index cards, and I wrote the classes that I had and how long each class was. And I started organizing them by topic and by time. And I realized I had like 3 bundles of classes that if you put them together, this would be a great 8-hour review of all the topics. This would be a 15-hour review of all the topics. And this would be like a 30-hour in-depth teaching of all the topics, and like letting people choose, you know, what they wanted. And I put different price ranges on them. And then I launched them on Zenler and started selling that. That was the best decision ever. And it took me just getting out of my own way. I had products that were selling. I had things people wanted to send me money for, but I was holding some belief that it had to look clean. It had to be perfect. It had to be edited. It had to be a better structure, that it couldn't just be a recording. And that was preventing me. If I had just implemented, you know, in October, what I could have in March, like, it would have been, we could have been talking about 2 million right now, 3 million right now. You know what I mean? But I was in my own way thinking it had to be perfect. You know, it had to be edited. It had to have this, you know, amazing structure to it. And so what I believed, what I thought a course should look like, was holding me back from using what I already had available. So once I had those courses and we launched them in October, and that was the same month I found out I was pregnant, the business really took off. We started having $20,000 months that following January, 20,000, 30,000. And then I was getting, you know, like, okay, I'm running the business basically by myself. So I have, it's easy, and that people are just able to get their Zenler course, go through all their videos. You know, all I have to do is tell them, go through the videos in the order that they're there. You know, you'll see success with helping you pass the exam. So at this point, I just had like customer service questions, answering YouTube questions, answering Facebook questions. And that was pretty much the business, but it was starting to get really big. And I was like, okay, I'm going to need help with this, especially since we're going to be having the baby. And so I hired someone to help me run everything. And it was just, of course, magic and miracles is my life. And it happened to be one of my good friends who worked in this business with me. So she was able to come on board and just immediately take over. As soon as I was able to tell her, this is what we do, this is how it works, here's the Zenler platform, she was literally able to just run the business for me while I was, you know, off having the baby. And so It was just trusting and knowing and leaning back on the support. So knowing, I think a lot of us really struggle with like giving up control and allowing someone else to, you know, take over. But if you can trust yourself that you will find that person, or you will find the system, or whatever, you know, like it can show up for you. So I had her running the business while I had the baby. And then I, you know, just did things as it felt right for me. So like I would still, like if I had, you know, if I was just bored, the baby was nursing, and I'm like, okay, I might go onto YouTube and check some comments if I felt like that, but it wasn't necessary. I only did things that felt good, that were fun. And I just focused on the baby. And then, as the baby is getting older, and I enjoy working. Like I enjoy doing these things. I enjoy coming on video because the business is producing so much income. I'm able to hire help, and I'm able to have people available that can hang out with the baby and help me take care of my house. Like I have someone who helps me keep my house clean so that I don't have to stress or worry about it. And you're able to do that when you have an income to support. You basically just buy back your time. And it's been awesome to receive that level of support. It's been awesome be able to pay people and have people help me with that. And so I just, trust that I have a system of people and that I'm supported. And if I believe I'm supported, like what you focus on grows. So like if you believe you have the support, if you believe that you deserve to be supported, it just magically lines up in a way that's perfect. So I think that kind of answer, like, get out of your own way. Trust that you're sitting, like I'm sitting on money. I was sitting on money and I just needed to get out of my own way. And so we are still to this day selling those same class recordings. We are in the process of making new content where it is clean, edited videos, but I'm not the one doing it. Like I'm paying people who enjoy doing that. I didn't enjoy editing video. I didn't enjoy doing that stuff. I would have struggled greatly with that kind of stuff. And I believe that that was the only way for me to see success. And it kept preventing me from being able to move forward until I got out of my own way. Now we get to have the clean edited videos. Now we can have all that beautiful structure, but I'm getting to pay other people to manage the part that I don't like to do. I just like to show up and teach, and then we give it away to other people and let them create all the stuff around it. And it's really, really beautiful and really magical the way it's all kind of unfolding.
Yeah, and it also, the other side of it is if you're not it's not your thing, you're not an expert on that, or you don't do that, it can take you so much time, and if you give it to an expert to do, a professional, okay, might charge a lot, but it would be a lot less than the time you would have spent trying to do it, because it might take me, for instance, editing a video half an hour. If I give it to someone else, it could take a day. So it's quicker in that regard, it helps, it saves the time. It's obviously that thing that sort of I was listening to there with you about giving up control. It's a very big one. It's very hard for me to give up control to things if I know things are if they're not going to be done properly. I'm very
what's proper, so to that point, like when I started, like, okay, there are going to be things, like, especially as a new, like, let's say someone's kind of new, they're building up, they don't have the money to pay someone to take things over. I was in that position, right? So there were things I had to do that I didn't love doing to get things going, to get it off the ground, to be able to bring in the income. But what I think trips people up is they think they need to do that thing perfectly. And if they don't do it perfectly, then it's all ruined. And so people will spend, hours and hours and trying to, like, again, every time I tried to make a clean edited video, it wasn't working out for me. And it was just this, cycle I was in. Do the thing, like, there's this phrase. It's like, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing half. I don't know if we're allowed to curse on here, but if we're doing it half-butted, like, it's okay if it's not perfect, but it is done. Done is better than perfect. Done. So, like, when I was selling, like, my course, of course, even in Zenler, could always be improved. It could have better titles. It could have, better stuff. It could look cleaner. It could whatever. Like, it certainly could always look better. It could be even more perfect, but done is better than perfect. And so I, launched my course with basically just the videos in there and a title of the video. Now we're adding in now that I have a professional, now we can add in the text, we can add in beautiful things. We could, make it look all good, but don't waste your time trying to perfectly do something that you're not good at. Just do it good enough to get it done and be out there. Like, my Zenler page, when there actually is a YouTube video on my channel, Mae Dillon, where I showed what my Zenler page looked like. So, like, when you went to insuranceexamqueen.com, at one point, all it was my course pages. And so you just see thumbnails of the course pictures with a tiny title description underneath of it. And that was it. And we were making $20,000 a month just off of that. People being able, like, and they had to figure out which one should I get, which one works for me. You know, like there was no like unless they asked me on Facebook or YouTube, what should I get? What should I be buying? Anybody who just went to the website had to kind of figure it out themselves, but it was done. It was good enough. I put it out there for people to be able to buy. There was a clickable link. They could purchase it. They could get it. Once we, you know, had an income to be able to support people, I brought on Michaela, who came in, and she's in the Zenler group. She's absolutely amazing and wonderful to answer all of your questions. And she began to beautify the site. She began to make it user friendly. She began to make sure that there was descriptions about which ones they should get and where they should go. And that wasn't necessary. It was amazing, and it's launched us now to our 6-figure months, but it wasn't necessary to make enough money to support her. Done was better than perfect. And so even though it was completely imperfect, and even though it didn't tell people what they should get, as long as it was there and available, it worked enough. You know, so we've got to remove this idea that we have to do something, you know, like if you're like I didn't take time to stop and learn about SEO stuff. I was like, I'm just going to put it out there, put on the tags that I think are good for the YouTube videos, and just run with it and not worry about the perfection and not spend hours investigating and learning something that doesn't bring me joy, that is only frustration. I'm just going to do enough of it to get it done and then move on. And as the income comes in, I can then buy someone to come in and make it perfect and better. Let someone else who's talented and who loves to do that be the one to do that. Because then their energy behind it will be so much cleaner than your frustrated energy of trying to make it happen.
For sure. Yeah, it's really good. Melissa answered one of the questions that was coming up later, and that is, you don't have to, everything doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't need to overcomplicate anything. This goes out to new course creators because I have it all the time. It's like, I'm trying to connect this to ActiveCampaign. I need a Zapier link coming in there because I want to tie this to a Google Sheet, and then I need a Google Calendar in there. How do I embed that in there? And all these things. And like, where are you in the process? Have you made any sales? No. And I'm like, shoot your video, put it in there, work on those things, but get it done. You know, it stops people in their tracks, like literally spending months trying to do a video and trying to get it on there, and they've already got a recording. Now, if you listen, Melissa, she used content she'd already made money on, and that is perfect because reusing content is one of the most powerful ways to save you time. And notice that also you have someone there. You're answering someone else's question, so it's alive. It's not you just sitting on screen going, this is what you do now, you need to do this, you need to do that. You've actually got that interaction, and nothing is more powerful than that live interaction, you know. So I think that is perfect. You've answered another question there, but I want to ask you, at any point were you scared or nervous about what you were trying to do?
Yes, of course. And I would be worried if I didn't have fear or nervousness. I might be a psychopath if I didn't. Like, that is so human of us. But that is the thing, is we have to recognize this is just part of the human condition. It is not meant to stop us. Fear is not meant to stop us from doing what it is that we want to do. But so many of us will use fear as a reason to stop doing what it is that we want to do. So it's all about facing the fear. Honestly, that phrase, I ring it through my head all the time. The only thing to fear is fear itself. In beyond whatever fear is telling you to be afraid of is not the thing that you actually need to be worried about. It's the fact that fear is trying to stop you. And so when you you just face the fear, you just do it, you just handle it, you just make it happen. That is where the magic is at, is just moving beyond the fear. Courage is not something you have until you go through the process of courage. Like, you build the courage through moving through the fear. Because you're like people tell me, I don't have the courage to do that. Like people, like women with cutting their hair, right? They're like, you are so brave to pull that off. I am not courageous enough to do that. I'm like, do you know how you get the courage to do it? You do it, and then you have the courage to do it. You have to do it first before you have the skill or the talent or whatever it is you need. Like, to the point of, like, we talked about, like, so many people are afraid. I know, like, there was a moment I had this fear where I was selling class recordings, and the money, like, I would get a ping, like, somebody, paid $55 for the class recordings. And then I was like, wow, like, this is crazy that I just put these videos out there and people are buying them and I'm getting notifications that people are selling them. And then I was like, is it enough for them to pass the exam? What if they don't pass? Like, how are they going to feel? And then, like, the fear began to, like,
Oh,
creep in. And that's what kicks on that perfectionism. Like, I need to make sure it's completely perfect before I let somebody buy it or have it, because what if it doesn't work? And, like, you can follow that fear trail forever. And you just got to be like, it is a solid class that I'm teaching the information. It's helped people. It's not my job if they pass the exam or not. It's my job as the insurance exam queen to teach the content on the exam, to give them memorization tips, to do all these things, but I cannot take ownership of what they end up doing with it. And I think that's where a lot of the perfection comes in. The more perfect I make my product, the less that people will fail with it or, like, not get the benefit out of it. But you have to trust that, like, it's good, it's working, it's awesome, and that you can make it better over time. Like, if I had decided that I can't sell this until it was perfect, which we still don't even have perfectly made, we would have prevented the thousands of people that have passed their exam in the last 2 years. Like, I would have, if I held a belief that, like, I needed to have an edited video, and, like, I'm afraid of releasing a video that's not edited. Like, if I held on to that fear, we wouldn't have been able to make the impact that we've made. And thousands of people have been able to pass their exam and move into careers and change their lives since the launch of the insurance exam queen and stuff. And so you just fear, again, the biggest thing to fear is fear itself. Anything that fear tells you, fear will tell you anything. You could be afraid of anything. Like, I'm as a baby, I mean, I watch my baby and I'm like, I'm afraid she could fall. I'm afraid she could slip. I'm afraid that she could put something in her mouth. I'm afraid that she could choke. I'm afraid that she can, like, fear will always be available to you in any form or fashion and make anything scary. It can make anything scary. And when you focus on that and feed that, you will find everything to be afraid about. But when, again, you just, like, okay, fear, I see that you're here. I'm going to set you aside. I'm not going to focus on you. I'm not going to make you go away. I'm just going to not look at you. I'm going to look at something else. I'm going to look at, okay, yes, there is the fear that this might not work for some people, but there are plenty of people who are going to be able to use this, who are going to have success. And I'm going to focus on that. So what you focus on grows. So if you focus on fear, more fear. If you focus on being able to help people and impacting people and putting out your talent and putting out your genius and expressing yourself, that's what grows. And so you just have to move beyond the fear, move beyond it has to be perfect, because it has to be perfect is just rooted in fear anyway. Like, if it's also like, you coming back to that brainwashing thing, like in school, it's like, there was like, this is the project. It must be done exactly like this. And if it's not done exactly like this, you will get a bad grade and you will fail. And we will showcase the kid who did it exactly like this, and yours will not be hung on the wall. And so we definitely have this idea of, like, if it doesn't look exactly the certain perfect thing, then I'm a failure, that I'm wrong, that I'm bad. And I think schooling has done a lot to, like, hinder our ability to trust ourselves. So we've got to be able to come back and trust ourselves and trust our talent, trust our genius, and allow it to come out in the way that is serving, the people. I led myself first. I said, I am the GOAT, the greatest of all time at teaching the exam before anybody else did. I said it and I led with that. And I built my business with that as my mindset. And it has proven itself over and over again. And now you look at my 5-star review Google comments, and people say she's the GOAT. She's the greatest of all time. I've seen she's the GOAT multiple times in the YouTube channel, in the Google reviews, and I led with that first. So I decided to focus on the potential, the hope, the possibility, the trust, and the faith. And I didn't focus on the fear. The fear existed, but I didn't spend time in it. And if I did spend time in it, I was lucky enough and amazing enough to have invested in a mentorship, in a coach who would help lead me away from that, who would help remind me, who would help put my compass back to where it needed to go. And that's the power of having an incredible support. I there's no way I could have done what I have done without my coach and mentorship with Christine. And like, it may not, like for you, it could be a Jacqueline or a Jenny or someone else. Like, it doesn't have to be Christine, but for me, there's no way I would have been able to do what I did without her love and support and her mentorship and her guidance. And she was like the one pushing me with the, just put your videos out there. You already have content. She was helping me see what was already available to me. She was getting me out of my way of thinking it had to be perfect and edited. And so I don't think I would be where I was. I don't think I would have been able to hide away from to get away from the fear and to focus. Like, it's so powerful to have someone help you along the way. And to that point, like, free help is not as powerful as you might think it is. Like, if you have a friend who is able to help you through all of that, you are beyond blessed. But there is power in paying someone to help you as you're a coach, as you're a mentor. Like, what you're willing to spend money on, people will like it. Like, I saw this, somebody was like, they put like, I would only buy a course if it was this price, but I list my courses for like 3 times as much. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you will only buy a course if it's cheaper, but you're trying to sell a course that's 4 times more expensive. And are you making sales? You're probably not making sales because you're not willing to spend that amount of money. If you want people to spend money on you, you've got to spend money on people. I invested with Christine. The first big amount I invested with her was $300 to be part of her Limitless program. And then I invested $3,000 to be in her next few programs. And that turned into her being my one-on-one coach. And now I'm spending quite a bit of money every month to have access to her. But through working with her and having access to her and having her genius and having her talent and having her eyes on my business and having her there to help me shift through the fear and refocus and get my compass straight, it has allowed us to get to 6 figures. So if you're doing this all alone, it is, I never did it alone. I have to say, I never did this alone. I always had someone that I could reach out to and lean on for support. And I think that is very, very powerful to have. I would encourage anybody to get a coach, to get a mentor, to get some guidance. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't start with Christine one-on-one. I didn't have the capacity to pay her for one-on-one coaching, but I joined her programs that she had going on I joined her free masterclasses. I had to look at someone else. I had to trust on someone else's guidance and mentorship, someone who was doing this for me to be able to do it. Even just the evidence that was possible. You know, she was selling videos, she was selling content, and she was making it happen, and it was her business. And I'm like, okay, if I can see the evidence that she's done it, and then I can even get her support through it, that just made it so much more awesome and amazing. So trying to tackle fear by yourself, that could be really tricky. It is very helpful to have someone who can help redirect your focus and get you back on track. That's definitely very powerful, because it is really hard to overcome fear all by yourself.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, I love fear, because fear is kind of you need fear. You need it because you're able to push through it. And every time you push through one of those little barriers, it becomes easier. And anything you do that you are fearful of, when you actually do it, you're like, that wasn't so bad. Every single time. Nothing is, and I've done some pretty crazy things in my life. And every single one, I can say that once I've done them, I don't know what I was worried about.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single time.
Usually there's excitement on the other side of fear, like
absolutely want to do it again.
Exactly. And so when you can push past that, fear, when you can push past the thing that's making again, the greatest thing to fear is that fear makes you stop. If you could just keep going, that's where the magic is. And then on the other side of that is usually so much excitement and fun and awesomeness.
Yeah, so don't fear, guys, right? So I want to ask you, so why do you think, if you can sort of sum it up, why do you think that sort of 98% roughly of course creators fail as course creators? And we probably touched on this in lots of the stuff we're talking about, coaching, not being ready with things. But what do you feel?
Yeah, so I talked about this yesterday too. I did a live with Christine. We talked about $1 million lessons. But I think, my first month of business was $220. That's how much money I made my first month of business. Some people will start a business and, make maybe $1 or no dollars, and then use that as proof or evidence that it's not going to work, and then completely stop what they're doing and crawl away and hide away and say, clearly it didn't work because it didn't make $1 million in the first month that I launched it. People, and this again, I think this comes back to the idea of school, that there's like instant gratification. Like, we're scared. First of all, we're like scared to do the thing. Like, we're scared to say, I'm going to launch a YouTube channel and it's going to have subscribers. And if we don't see that subscriber come in, and if we don't see 100 subscribers like within the first hour, it's like, oh my God, it's a total failure. This didn't work. I got to run away and hide. It's this, like, we have to immediately see evidence or proof in order for us to keep going. But the thing is like, you keep going is what builds the evidence and the proof. Like, you have to stand behind it before anyone else will. Like I said, I didn't do this alone, but I did build the insurance exam. Like, I myself was the insurance exam queen, and I alone had to continue making this business and keep going with it. There were people who came in to support me and cheer me on as I went on. But I'm still the one who had to decide. I only made $220 this month. Am I going to keep going? Yes, I'm going to keep going. And we have this, I've seen it. People are like, well, I want a YouTube channel, but I put out like 3 videos and like nobody watched them. So then I quit, and then that's clearly not meant for me. And I'm like, okay, well, have you put out a 4th, a 5th? What, like, are you sharing your videos? People are like, they don't want to, if they don't see immediate success, or, and I think and it's not even just that. It's like, again, people are afraid. They're afraid to look stupid, right? So it's like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. Here's my channel. And then nobody subscribes, or very low subscriberships or whatever. And then we're like, okay, that was dumb. That was stupid. I'm going to, dip out. But it's like, again, I had to think I was the GOAT before anybody else did. I had to lead myself first. I had to trust that I was building an epic, amazing business. And then people, followed. But if you're shaky on it, or if you're ready to dip out, like, oh, it didn't immediately take off. So since it didn't immediately take off, there's proof and evidence that it's not going to work. So I got to go. And it's like, you got to be willing to show up for yourself, show up for your business when no one else is yet. Like, waiting, people are not willing to wait. They're not patient, right? Like, it's a crawl, walk, run type of thing. People are like, I want to launch a business and I want to be running and making, tons of money with my business. Well, you got to crawl a little bit. You got to learn to walk a little bit. I mean, it's been really helpful having a baby and watching her grow and develop, and like seeing that is how all things work. When I started my business, I was crawling around. Honestly, I wasn't even crawling. I was just on the floor, kind of like, okay, what do we do next? Like, I wasn't even able to get on my hands and knees yet. It took time. And that goes back to the idea of perfectionism too. Like, some people say, well, I can't launch a YouTube channel until I have a perfect little brand, until I have a perfect little banner, until I have perfect little thumbnails. And that's what prevents us. You go back far enough on my YouTube channel, and it's not pretty, but it was done. And I went for it, and I just kept doing it. This beautiful branding didn't come in until months after my business was in play. So it's the getting over the fear of not being perfect, of being messy about it. Again, done is better than not done. Half done is better. I don't say that word. But like,
you can say that word.
Half-assed, yeah. Done is better than half-assed.
Half drawn.
Yeah. Half-assed is better than not done. So just get it done. Done is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfectly, done. So yeah, just the immediate, I have to see immediate success for me to want to continue. That's where I think people struggle, is they don't see immediate success in what they're doing. And so they they'll stop it all. They'll just be like, never mind, I quit. This is stupid. This is dumb. I should have never done this. I should have listened to my dad who told me to build a business plan first. You know, like we feed into those things. So
Do you say to your dad, do you say, there you go?
yeah. Yeah.
There you
It's like I just did it. I just make it happen. Yeah, I mean, I let him bring it up if he wants to bring it up, but I don't talk about it much because he'll tell me what I'm doing wrong.
It is brilliant. So yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's this thing, because I can't believe, like, some people, they'll launch something, they have a course, no marketing, and then they'll be like, but everyone's coming and buying my course. That's because nobody knows about it, because there's no marketing at all, or even any social channels. But it's the same thing. I've done hundreds of websites, not for Zenler, but outside of Zenler. And the main question is asked is, they seem to think if you build a beautiful looking website that people will just turn up, right? But there's just as likely people will turn up if it's a terrible website.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
My website did not look pretty. And you could you could watch that video on Melissa Mae Dillon where I showed what the website looked like and how Michaela came in and just cleaned up the homepage, and the amount of sales that immediately increased after she cleaned up my homepage. But I still had people coming to my crappy homepage and buying stuff. We still made $20,000 a month with that alone. But to your point, like, people like I started with the YouTube channel and just putting videos out there. I wasn't making any money at all with like the first, 10, 20 videos. And then even after that, I was only making like $33 an hour tutoring, but I still kept putting out videos on the YouTube channel. So yeah, it's like I put out one video, nobody came, and I have this beautiful course that I spent all these hours trying to make perfect. And I spent all these hours, I think a lot of people are frustrated because they spend time doing things they don't even enjoy just to make the course, and then not doing the simple things like just talking about it. People don't even just go talk about it on your YouTube, talk about it on your Facebook, tell people what you're doing. If you're not willing to talk about it and let people know what you're up to, then no one's going to know what's going on. No one's going to be interested in it, because what do they have to be interested in if you're not even interested enough to talk about it? People are so afraid to talk about it or tell it. Like, it's mind boggles me sometimes. I'm in like these moms groups, and they'll be like, I'm posting in this mom group because I can't post publicly on my page. I'm like, why can't you post publicly on your page? Whatever, like a lot of breastfeeding stuff. And I know that, like, there's people who are like, have their opinions, but the baby's got to eat. I don't care. And I think it's the most beautiful, magical thing is, breastfeeding my baby. And I will put pictures of that all over my Facebook all day long. And no one makes negative comments. I think when you hold the fear of like what it is you're doing, and then you put it out there, like, and then of course, like, you're like, people are going to say negative things. And then that's what you get, because what you focus on, grows. But you have to talk about what you're doing. You have to be about what you're doing. It should be the first thing that people know about you, like, because that's who you are and that's, what you're doing. People almost immediately know that I'm the insurance exam queen. People know right away that I've got a YouTube channel because I talk about it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not worried about it. And I want people to know, what's going on. And I want people to know that you can walk away from, a job that totally sucks. And I want people to know that you can build an incredible business. So I'm all about walking the talk and telling people about what it is that I do and not being afraid about it. I think it's very important.
Yeah, and I think it's also with that side of things, you've gone through. I mean, how I look at it is, you're the same. You've gone through that baptism fire. You've gone through the things that you don't want to be, and you are now what you want to be. But you have that experience behind you. You are successful, so you can launch a membership for people to join, to show how you do these things. You've gone through working for a company selling the insurance, and those people, so you're confident in your ability and you love what you do. And those things are the drivers. So they drive you. If like guys, like if you're doing you're thinking of doing a course or something and you've got no experience of that and you're not really that bothered, but you see that it makes a lot of money for other people, and then you go, you're going to fail. You're going to fail straight away because you don't love what you're doing. And I think this is my opinion, is unless you love what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. I just realized I have somebody coming to my house and I didn't tell them where to go.
This is live.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. We're live. She's on her way to come pick up. So we're moving. We were able, to talk about like the success, like we were able to buy a dream property of ours. Like when I started this business, when I tell you, I started this business in a condo that I was renting and it wasn't even mine. And then like, I moved across country because I met, of course, my husband, David, through, not you, David, but for anybody watching, my husband, David, he actually was studying for the insurance exam when we met, and he didn't have necessarily a place. Like he was living in a house that he was remodeling for a friend. So we didn't even have a place to live together when we first, got together. And one of the places we ended up living was like this dinky little house that didn't, like, the toilet took forever to flush, and like it was not a place that I loved, but I had to love it. And I was like, and it was actually one of the moments that taught me to be like really grateful. This is the key to everything, guys. Like, and we kind of talked about this before with what does success mean to you? Success to me means waking up to a life that I love. And there was a time period where we were living in this house that I didn't love. There was hardly any sunlight coming in. It felt so dark. It felt so small. It felt so enclosed. But it was like the only place that him and I could secure to be able to afford as we're building the business. And, we've got the baby coming and we had all these things going on. And I was like, I'm just going to love where I'm at. And so every time I went to the toilet to go flush, and I had to go pee a lot because I was pregnant. And I had to pee every 2 hours, and I would go to the, and I'd have to hold down the toilet. And I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to be grateful for indoor plumbing. I am so grateful that I have indoor plumbing. I'm so grateful that I just can sit on this toilet and it will take care of my stuff for me. And I'm not, okay, it's not done yet. So I'm more grateful. And it was like, instead of like being annoyed and frustrated and irritated at that toilet, I decided to love that I had indoor plumbing. And so again, what you focus on grows. So that was one of the houses that we first, lived in. And now we're moving into a brand new built house. It was just finished in 2023. It's absolutely beautiful and stunning. It has 3 toilets. That other house only had 1, and David and I had to fight over the toilet. And it was like one awful toilet. And now we've got 3 beautiful toilets in our brand new house. And like the difference that has happened since I started the business to now is just absolutely amazing. And the key thing was being grateful for everything that I had, and being grateful even when it was not the most ideal situation. Instead of focusing on this toilet sucks, it's broken, this place sucks, there's no sunlight, I was like, what can I focus on? What can I love? What can I be grateful for? And that will be my focus. And so I woke up with gratitude. I woke up with, joy that I had these things, and it has allowed us to get to this place. And we were able to bring our baby back to like this most beautiful house. We were able to remodel the house that we're living in now completely for cash. And now we get to sell this house to move into our next big one. And because I really wanted property. We wanted a lot of land available to us to go hunting. I really like to have fresh organic meats. And so David does all the hunting. And it's just super awesome what we've been able to do in such a short amount of time, having built this business and receiving the level of income that we do. And it's because I just decided to show up and own my time and my talents and focus on gratitude, focus on what is working, focus on, love and joy instead of fear and worry and doubt.
Yeah, and that positivity is great. And those kind of things like the toilet, it's like what I like to do is I like to turn it into a character, like it's the grumpy toilet again. This kind of makes it more funny. It's like, you've got this, had a car like it, it's all manual windows, and it never used to go up a hill. So I used to have to roller coaster. I get to the top of the hill and then I And then I go as fast as I can down the hill so I can get up the other hill. And it was the character of the car. I remember one time I was trying to go up a hill and I was trying to go past a bus and the car just couldn't do it. And I had to sulkily go back behind the bus. And I was like, it's the car.
Yes, like make it joyful, make it a fun experience. Like we can choose to be really frustrated and like some people will stub their toe in the morning and then just have an awful day all day long. And if I stub my toe, I'll be like, I am so grateful that I have a toe. Like, thank you for reminding me that I have feet to walk on. Like we take for granted so much because it's so easy to like see lack, like abundance makes us see lack. And what I mean by that was like, I was talking to somebody about houses and like, they're like, there's no place to put towels in the bathroom and these old houses. And I'm like, well, that's because there was only the whole family used one towel. Like I've been talking to like some of the grandparents around and they were talking about how everyone had to use the same bath water and the same towel. And so like an abundance and then I was like, well, now we have plenty of towels. And now an abundance of towels feels like a lack of storage. Like we can always see what we're missing instead of seeing what is plentiful and what is available. And I want to focus on the fact that I've got plenty of warm towels to use and not be frustrated by the fact that there's no storage and organization. Like we can make that happen and we can get that going. But like we have so much available to us. We are the fact that you and I are in different countries, different time zones, seeing each other on camera, being able to chat at the same time. That is mind blowing to somebody,
Yeah.
just 100, like even just like, I don't know, time very well. Like I
Yeah, like
imagine
50
the days of
years.
like the Oregon Trail, like I used to play that game all the time as a kid. Like there was a time not long in my family line where somebody was like, we're living in Poland. We don't have enough money. This is really hard and difficult. I am going to get on a boat and go to another country and you may never hear from me again. And you may never know what happened and I may never be able to come home again, but I'm going to just go out into this other country and try to make a living. And like the fact that like we can easily call anybody in another country, like we are so blind to what is available to us. We're focused on the lack of everything because an abundance really helps you see lack, and we got to focus on what is here, what is available to us, like the fact that we can be on camera talking to each other, have a device, have a way to communicate is literally mind-blowing to people who had to rely on snail mail. And then there was like a time where snail mail didn't even exist. And there was just never a way to send communication to people, and
Except pigeons.
yeah, pigeons. Poor pigeons. We now have an overpopulation of pigeons. Now we're annoyed by pigeons. Pigeons used to be the way that we communicated with other people, and now it's like, oh, we got all these pigeons pooping everywhere, and it's like, well, we bred them to be so
It's
much.
because they're out of work, Melissa. They're out of work. That's why they're hanging around.
Oh man.
Bring back carrier pigeons. We need them for sure.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, being grateful for what we've got, seeing what's available to us. People are like, I can't build a business, but you literally have access to internet, and you can do a lot of things with that internet. Like you could do so many things, and we're just that fear of like, well, I don't want to be seen. Like it's crazy to me. Like if somebody's like, I want to have all these course sales and I want to make $1 million, but you're afraid to just even put yourself out there just to even say it. A lot of people do this stuff in secret and quiet and just hope that it kind of works and be afraid to talk about it. I had to say out loud to my family. I had to so much of like what we want is in our head and we only keep it in our head. And if you keep it in your head, it can't happen out here. You have to say, I want a massive, amazing brand all around the country and that people are buying my courses and I am the best teacher at what I'm doing and I have the best content related to this and I just put it out there and like I know that people will come. Like you got to have that level of love and joy behind what it is that you're doing. Because if you're afraid to have your stuff, people are going to be afraid to buy it. You know, the energy of who you are as you're doing it and selling it and creating it is the same energy of the people receiving it. And so if you're afraid to do it, if you're scared to do it, if you know, have all this worry, fear, and doubt, and then you put it out there, you're a match for that. That's what you're going to continue matching with, is customers who are afraid to buy it, customers who doubt it. You know, like, you have to have the confidence in it. You have to exude what it is that you're doing. You have to trust it, and then feel so good about selling it so that your buyers can feel so good about buying it. If you feel yucky about selling it, they're going to feel yucky about buying it. So the energy that you're putting your stuff out there with is the same energy that customers will receive it with. So if you're putting it out there with like scared and doubty energy and like not feeling the best about it, that's the same type of customer you're going to attract, if any at all. And so like, I don't want customers who doubt. I don't want customers who wonder if this is the best for them. I want customers to know that this is the most best amazing thing, and they're going to go after it. And that's the same energy that when I put my stuff out, this is the best thing for you. This is going to help you pass the exam. There's nothing else on the market that is better than what I've got going on. And it could be even better. Yes. Like, I did have a comment on my YouTube channel. I wish these videos should be cleaner. That whole idea of how it should be. And I said, you know what? You're right. And one day I will have that. But right now, this is the best thing on the market of what's available to you. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like, I exude, I know it is one of the very best things out there. Yes, it could always be better. Yes, it can evolve. Yes, it can grow. And we will do those things. But like, the fear of it not being perfect yet should not be the thing that holds me back from what it is I've got going on.
Yeah, because it's gonna hold you right back if you don't get on and just do it. It's gonna hold you back, and that fear thing as well with that. And like Melissa said, it's like people fail because they give up really, really quickly, like so quickly. And I think you're right. I think it's also people, they're afraid. They put things out there, but they don't kind of want people to look at it. Because if they feel doubt, or and even really experienced people that have been working in industries for years and years, might have been teachers, and they do an online course, and for some reason when people do an online course, they kind of go, I don't think I'm good enough, even though they got decades of experience, and no one's going to buy this. And you see it happen a lot. They'll have a price and they're like, what do you think I should charge for this? You get it on the Facebook group like all the time. Like, how much do you think I should charge? It's not up to me, it's up to you. You know your market. But what will generally happen is they'll put a price in, not any sales, and they'll reduce the price and keep reducing and keep reducing, as if it's going to make a big difference.
So to that point, it is, so one of the things is like, we are blind to our own talent and our genius. Something that is simple to us, we don't attach a lot of value to it because it's so simple, so easy to us. But your talent, to someone who doesn't have that skill, it is very valuable to them. And so we have to remember that when we're like, it's really hard sometimes to value what we have because it's so simple. So who would pay for this? You know, well, someone who doesn't know how to do it, someone who needs that information, that's who would pay for that. So one is that we don't think that there's necessarily a market because it's so commonplace to us, is one thing. The other thing is, I think hourly wage has like really impacted our ability to understand value and money. Like when I am able to like, there are other instructors who sell what I sell for a lot more money, but they are coming from the mindset of they're afraid that they will only get one person. I know I'm going to get 100, you know, so I will have a lower prices on my stuff than some other instructors out there because I know I'm going to have a lot more people come in than what they have come in. But like so back to the point of like hourly wage, we have this idea that we can only make a certain amount of money doing a certain amount of thing in a certain amount of time. And that's where a lot of our money problems come in. And so like, I talk to people about magic money where I make money, like the courses, the videos that I'm selling now, I made money when I did them. I made money, and I make money on them all day, every day, continuing to sell them. If I believe that I could only make money in that first hour that I made the video, I'm really limiting what is available to me and the value of that. So lowering there is definitely, you want to make sure like that the price makes sense for people. Like sometimes people will price it so high just because they only think they're going to get 1 to 2 people. And if they can get 1 to 2 people, then they'll be okay. But you also don't want to price it so low that, because if you price it so low, then it's like people don't find it very valuable. Like we actually did a little experiment when I was selling class ticket prices somewhere around like $33 for a 1-hour class. And we experimented with doing $7 classes. Less people would come to the $7 classes than to the $33, because they're probably like, oh, $7 wouldn't even make it worth it. Like that must not be something that's very valuable if they're only offering it, for $7. So people definitely got this, thing about money. The biggest thing though about pricing and money is like, what do you feel behind it? Because if you feel gross or yucky about your pricing, your customers will feel gross or yucky about your pricing. And yes, there is like logic and strategy you can find, like you want to use a 9 or a 7 because that's just really good in marketing for whatever reason. So there is like some strategy involved. But the main thing you want to focus on when you're putting out pricing is if you feel good about what you're earning. And this was a journey I had to take myself. Like at some point, I went from $33 an hour tutoring to saying working with me is $997. And that was a big shift that was super scary for me to take. And you can even ask my husband, David, when he reached out to me asking for help, I said, well, I can't call you. And if you want me to call you, you have to get my $1,000, royal treatment package to work with me. But I remember being absolutely terrified to say that working with me one-on-one would be $997. Now, in terms of the insurance exam content, I wouldn't sit down with someone to work with them one-on-one unless they pay me around $10,000 to work with them on the insurance exam content. Because I already got a ton of videos that you can just watch those, so our value of things will change over time, but how you feel about what you're putting out there is the most important. And you have to feel good about what you're putting out there and the price you have behind it. And you don't have to stick with like what you start with. Like I was selling each class individual, like it was $33 to attend the class. So you had to pay $33 to attend the class. So then I would sell the recording for around $20 to $30. Now I sell a bunch of those all together for like $97. I was able to change the price of those things over time as it made sense for me and for other customers. So like you don't have to be stuck. Like if you say the price is this, and then later on it makes sense to change it. Again, what are you feeling behind it is most important, not what you think other people will think. Like there was a time where I was like, well, what are they going to think if I change the pricing? And again, fear and worry and doubt, instead of focusing on what felt right and what felt good to me. Your energy behind everything is everything. And I don't think people really realize that.
No, I think it's a good point as well, because it's the other thing about courses, and what's great about courses is that you have to say, right, how much time am I spending with this, and how much at that time in your life, how much is my hourly rate, and then work out the cost, and then look at competition, and you can come up with a good price that you should feel happy about. But the other thing is that it's a course, and because it's a course, as soon as you get X amount of students, I got 10 students going to pay for my time of doing the course. That's what you've earned, but it carries on earning. So you're earning, I'm earning from one of my courses that it's been 10 years now. It's still making money for me. If I was to work that on an hourly rate, it would be huge.
Yeah.
But at the time I was like, if I make that much, I'd be really happy. I don't even look at that course anymore. I don't even look at it, and it's still making money. And sometimes, you'll get and you'll say, I'm getting loads and loads of sales coming here, and it is worth, and look at the competition, what they're doing, how many, especially if you're adding lessons to it, I'll increase it, and you can increase it. You don't have to feel bad about it. because it's, you think, no, it is worth that much, definitely. But I think it all comes from you as well, how knowledge. And I love that bit, Melissa, that you were saying that something that's easy to you don't think you can sell. You know, that is so true. It is so true. But I remember this little quote that I actually saw from Udemy. Sorry, Zenler, but it was saying, if you know something someone else doesn't, you can sell. You can sell it, and it's true. So if you're learning something, say like Udemy's thing is, you don't have to be an expert in it for years and years and years. You can go through a baptism, like surfing. I'm bringing out a surfing website, and I've got members coming in there already. And I wouldn't say I'm advanced. Now I'm more advanced. You know, I'm intermediate advanced, but I'm still not up the top end. I know I can sell that because I still remember all the hurdles I had when I was a beginner, and they're the people that want to learn. When you get to a certain point, it's just perfecting things. Yeah. So I can do that, and it's one of those things. So you don't have to, you pricing, and the way that you figure your pricing is, it changes because the money keeps coming in. So you can't say, like, you can say how much I earn. I mean, if you worked out some of your courses, you could work out, oh, right, that's how much time I spent. That's how much I'm making now on those courses. And then you've got other stuff coming out as well, plus other revenue streams. Because we're talking to Melissa now, who is our $1 million course creator, but we're talking about one course. We're talking about one site that she's running. So we're not talking about her other businesses that are part of it.
Yeah.
So Melissa.
I mean, so there are, like, technically more, there's multiple courses if you went in there, but like the Insurance Exam Queen is one. Yes.
Yeah. And you have other things running along. So when did they happen? What's the journey here? You started with the Insurance Queen, and then what happened? What's happening now? Bring us up to date with what's going on with other bits that you're doing.
Yeah. So with the success of the Insurance Exam Queen, getting that YouTube channel, turning it into a 6-figure, 7-figure business, other people have asked me, how did you do it? What are you doing? And so I've started to share that with other people. One, we recently did like a YouTube Kickstarter package where we help people get their YouTube up and going. We're maxed out of capacity with that. So we're going to launch their YouTube channels, and then we may be rolling that out again at some point. And then one of the other things that I have found in the course of, building this business is one of the biggest things that I think we all really struggle with, because it's all about the money until it's not about the money. Everything is about the money until it's not about the money. And it's not about the money when there is more than enough of it that you don't have to ever really think about anything again. And so I have a Magic Money membership, and I sell that off of melissamaedillon.com. And I have a YouTube channel, melissamaedillon.com as well, where I talk about the behind the scenes of building the business. So my business is the Insurance Exam Queen. And then Melissa Mae Dillon talks about building that business, talks about the beliefs, the money beliefs, talks about, the entrepreneurship journey and stuff like that. And so on the Melissa Mae Dillon side of things, one of my most favorite things is the Magic Money membership. And it's basically a Facebook group that I consider a playground for money. So one of the things I noticed is that people are very afraid to talk about money, because when you start talking about money, other people will tell you you're crazy, or that's nuts, or you're conceited, or whatever it may be. And I was like, we need a place where we can say, I want to be earning $5,000 a month, and I deserve that, and I love that, and or 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever it is you want to be earning monthly. To be able to say that in a space where people not only that don't discourage you or tell you that you're crazy, but actually get behind you, excite you about it, pump you up for it, and, co-create that manifestation for you where you can, build a business that you want to build. So we have a lot of money beliefs in there. And so people will go in the Facebook group and they'll post a question. Like recently someone said, how do you deal with mama guilt and building a 6-figure business at the same time? And then I went live in the group and I shared, how I personally went through that myself and my beliefs about, mom guilt and building a business and stuff like that. And it's just being able to provide my support. You're basically just rubbing my shoulders, as I'm going to rub my shoulders with a multimillionaire and get help from her and get questions from her. And that's what the Magic Money membership is. And just, again, a safe place to be able to say, we're so afraid to say what it is that is, again, we have ideas in our head. Like I for so long had the idea in my head that I want certain things. I want to publish books. I want to speak on stages. I want people to learn from me. I want to make an impact on the planet. And I kept it all in my head because I was too afraid to say it out loud. I was waiting for permission from someone else to say that this is what I should be doing, for someone else to recognize the potential that I had and have them, say, oh, listen to her, I had to be the one to just go out there. And now people invite me, like Zenler has invited me to their stage because, I've had the success on the platform and stuff, but I had to lead myself first in that. I had to be the one that went first. And when you're able to say it out loud in a group of other people where it's going to be safe to say it and people are going to encourage you along that way, that's what the Magic Money membership is about, is really being able to express what it is you want, getting the encourage and getting my support and feedback and answering your questions about Magic Money. There is no set structure or like schedule to anything. It's kind of, because it's only $33 a month, which is super, super cheap for the value that people are getting in there. They're basically getting like high level one-on-one coaching from a 7-figure earner via $33 a month. So it's absolutely, absolutely an amazing deal. The price may change at some point. I'm holding to that at some point it's going to be different. But if you lock in 33, you're going to stay at 33. So that's what's super fun about that. But it's just so fun. It's just a fun playground talking about money, being encouraged by other people, getting support from some 7-figure earners, and just having fun. It's my playground. It's my Magic Money playground.
Yeah, so you're doing that. I mean, it's really good because like we're doing this whole interviews because people are so interested. You've only got to look at all the oh, here we go. She got some videos playing.
Sorry.
We're live. But no, it's really good because you're actually showing people you've been through it. You've got all this information because I know that you've been coached, so you're passing stuff on that you've paid thousands of pounds for, thousands of dollars, sorry. And people can join it, and like the 33 a month, which is peanuts. Mm-hmm. And it'll go up. So I suggest you guys, if you do it, you jump in there now, straight after this. Links will always be in the descriptions. So I'm going to ask you one last question. So, Melissa, give a final motivating statement to our Zenler family.
Be yourself. Be yourself. Do what lights you up. That's the magic.
And you can see this. You can see this here from Melissa every time she comes on, and it's a joy. And it's contagious. You're contagious, Melissa.
In a good way.
In a good way. In a very good way. So, brilliant. This is our congratulations to Melissa Dillon. She is more now. She's a 1 million sales dollars, and she's an amazing person. And I just going to, from the whole Zenler team, we wish you massive further success. And I'm sure it's going to skyrocket. So maybe we can have another interview at 1.5, 2, 4, 8, yeah. 16. Keep it going up.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And I love to be able to help and support people through this, and definitely go back and watch the other interviews. And I'm looking forward to just really, like, the impact that we can have on the planet when we show up as ourselves is amazing. And impact equals income. Like, again, it's all about the money till it's not about the money. And when you focus on your impact, the income flows in. So shift your focus from income and how am I going to make the money and how am I going to pay the bills and what should I price a course at, to how am I going to impact the planet? How am I going to help and serve people? And that's where the magic comes from.
Yeah. And everybody's got it inside them, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melissa.
I love you. Thank you. All right. Hello, Zenler community. I am here because I have received my Zenler Star, $1 million in sales on the Zenler site. What do they call it? I don't know, like your reward, your milestones. So I've gotten a few of these for hitting milestones. So when you hit different money milestones. Selling your courses on Zenler, they send you milestone achievement little packages, and this is my $1 million milestone achievement. So I wanted to open it here live with you guys now, and let me actually tag David so that he can see. He said to make sure I post this here in the group for you all. I don't know if it tagged him or not, but anyway. All right, so let's open it. This is our $1 million. So the first thing, it's a little white box. What do we got here? I imagine, there's a little letter. Let's read the little letter. Hey Zenler Star, unbelievable. You've crossed the monumental milestone of 1 million in sales. Your unwavering dedication and exceptional talent have propelled you to new heights. Take a bow and celebrate this extraordinary achievement. The next level of greatness awaits you as you strive for even greater heights. Onwards and upwards, Rakesh, CEO and founder. So I got me a little card. All right. I just had a sneak peek of some of the things in the box, and I am freaking stoked. Okay, but first we've got our classic notebook from Zenler. It comes with a little pen. This is not the first one I've received of these. But these are beautiful little notebooks from Zenler with their own little pen. That's freaking awesome. And then, oh my God, I literally wanted one of these. It's a GoPro. I was not expecting a GoPro. Oh my gosh. I literally was just thinking the other day how I needed a GoPro, and here it is. This is magic. I had no idea. This is so cool. I've been wanting my own GoPro, and it's right here from Zenler for $1 million in sales. That is so amazing. Look at that. Check that out. Sweet. Oh my gosh, I'm actually so happy. I can't believe we've been moving, and so this box has actually sat here for like a week, and I knew I wanted to go live to open it, and now I'm like, I should have opened this a lot sooner. All right, cool. Oh, and then, we've got a beautiful little coffee cup. Zenler Star. That's awesome. That's a nice little travel size one. It feels nice too. All right, awesome. And then we got our lanyard, Zenler Star lanyard. And of course our $1 million milestone pin from Zenler Star. So this is amazing. Yes, $1 million in sales using the new Zenler site. If you have any questions, I have done a few different interviews with Zenler about how I have gotten to this point and what are the things that I am doing to get to this point with $1 million in sales from the Zenler site. So check out any past recordings. I'm sure David could help tag you in the blog post or anything like that. And if you guys have any questions below about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how I'm having this amazing success using the Zenler platform, which is absolutely incredible, drop them in the chat thingy below and I will help you out. I love you all. Have an amazing day celebrating my $1 million GoPro camera. That is awesome. And I'm going to go have me some sips of coffee. Have an amazing day. Bye.